Welcome to Modern Goddess. Here we discuss everything mastering your mindset, wellness wisdom, upgrading your relationships so that you can unleash your divine goddess essence and live your authentic best self every single day. I'm your host, Cassie Aurora. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you've had a lovely Christmas, and thank you once again for joining me for this special episode, because it is a special episode because I think it's one of the biggest life-changing things we can do, and we'll kind of get all into that as we go. But I just wanted to give you a small heads up, because so much is happening that I can offer you, but I just wanted you to be in the loop so you can't say I didn't tell you. But my January round of my Astrology Made Simple course is beginning mid-January, and this, if you sign up before the 1st of January, you are going to be in with a nice juicy $100 off. This is like the no BS astrology course. It literally gets you from reading astrology a little bit or not at all to reading with all the methods like a pro. So in essence, you'll be able to read a chart just as well, maybe not as good as me, because I've studied for years, but pretty much you'll be able to read a chart very well. So it's great for understanding your own chart, your hidden potential, planning in business, knowing what your hidden strengths are, good times to plan things. It's basically so you can understand astrology in a very in-depth way, but it's not really confusing course. I keep it nice and simple because I genuinely believe astrology is learnable for everyone. Learning astrology changed my life. It meant that I wasn't like I was getting ahead of the energy before it happened, which meant I could change it, I could rise to the challenge, I could not be blindsided. And although, I use astrology most of the time, knowing that I've got it in my back pocket as a tool is one of the best things I ever did for my life, my health, and my business, and my relationship. So understanding astrology is an absolute game changer. So I really encourage you, if you want to learn astrology but you don't want all the complicated hours and hours and hours of lectures, and you just want something that's 6 weeks simple, then this is for you. It has a wonderful community where you'll meet so many lovely women. I actually love my astrology school. The people that are in it, they're just gorgeous, and you'll have access to the content forever. So there's like live lessons, there are bonus Q&A sessions, and the community, but you can do the course over and over and over again every time I run it. So you actually are kind of getting a lifetime of astrology school, and you always get free access to my astrology webinars. These are like $30 each, and I'm going to be doing a lot more webinars next year. So I strongly encourage you to get involved, because honestly, I feel like this is my favorite offering. I'm beyond excited about the next round, because teaching people astrology is amazing, because they realize it actually doesn't need to be that hard. So you are not different to me. Your brain has the same capacity as me. You can absolutely learn astrology if you want to. And then you won't be reliant on people for readings. You'll literally know how to read your chart and be aware of what's going on in real time. So yeah, that's even how I knew I was going to have a baby, FYI. So, I love astrology. So if you want to be in that January enrollment, I'm offering $100 off if you enroll before the 1st of January. So make sure you email me on my email, hello@cassieaurora.com, or Instagram message me ASAP if you want to be on that course as soon as you can. And then we can sort that out. If it's the 31st of December at midnight or something, and I don't reply, please don't worry. If I can see that you sent the message, then I will honour that $100 off. And yeah, you can still enroll in January, but you just miss out on the promotion. So hit me up if you want to know any more about that. I'll leave a link in the show notes, which is on my website, which has all the deep details of astrology school. I cannot wait to start this, like I say. And so if you have any questions, please just reach out and I will be here to answer them. So I really hope you have a wonderful weekend as we're coming up to New Year, a lovely New Year's celebration. And I strongly encourage you to give this podcast a listen. And I'm really excited for Alex's webinar. I love his crypto work. It's honestly, this podcast episode, just bear with it. It's so interesting. It's so vital in 2021. Those of you that were at my 2021 webinar will know this is pretty much vital information. So please take it easy, have a wonderful week, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. And if you want to be on astrology school, then just drop me a message. Welcome back to the podcast. Today I have on a familiar guest. Most of you will know him. Please excuse my lisp as well. Most of you know by now I have Invisalign. It's given me a lisp, so I kind of sound like Chuck E. Cheese all the time. And you'll just have to put up with it because I can't change it for a while. So yeah, thank you for joining me. And today's guest, you'll probably know him, is my partner Alex. And the reason I've got him on is because he is like a money wizard, but he is especially a wizard when it comes to cryptocurrency, which many of you will know if you listen to my podcast on money mindset and abundance. You'll know that cryptocurrency for me is something I've been talking about massively. I talked about it in my webinar for the Astrology of 2021, which, by the way, you can still buy it and download it retrospectively. So if you want to, you can just head to my website and download that webinar if you want to know how the Astrology of 2021 is going to play out, because it's huge and it's really relevant to what me and Alex are going to talk about today. And we are in the middle of our Christmas break, and we have been relaxing a lot, so we're probably a bit sleepy in this podcast. Well, I am, not him. He's shaking his head at me because he's a lot more professional than me. But yeah, keep it chill and real. So yeah, we're going to talk about cryptocurrency today. And if you're someone who's thinking, well, I don't have much money, like I don't have any money to invest anywhere, we're going to kind of debunk all these myths. This episode is for everyone, no matter what your financial position. There is something in here that can benefit everyone, because I like to think of cryptocurrency as something that everyone can access no matter where they are. So thanks, Alex, for coming on the podcast. Do you want to introduce yourself for people who don't know you? They probably do, but just
how much do you want me to say?
He's asking how much you want me to say. Introduce yourself and tell people what you do.
Hi everyone, Merry Christmas. We're in our PJs and dressing gowns, sat on the floor. It's quite funny. So yeah, I'm Alex, as you know. I do a few things, so yeah, I'll just keep it short. I run festivals, which obviously at the moment as can we swear on the podcast?
Depends what we swear on.
Okay, alright, so it's gone down the pan, obviously, with the whole COVID thing. Teach meditation. Some of you guys might remember me from the last podcast I did on here, decoding COVID-19. Do a lot of truth-seeking work. And yeah, at the moment, most managers in cryptocurrency, which I absolutely love. So I got made redundant back in July from my job, which I hated anyway, so it was a big blessing. But whilst I was on furlough, I was watching crypto videos every day, started investing, yeah, now I'm making a lot more money, doing something I enjoy, and now my kind of goal is to help other people get into the space because I'm really passionate about it, and help other people get some more financial freedom and learn more about this amazing technology. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you. And because today we're going to try and like blend the astrology as well, because like everyone on my podcast is obviously into astrology, but the astrology of crypto is really, really interesting. But I just thought I'd tell people that if they're into astrology and they know nothing about crypto, it's literally super interesting, so they may as well hang around. So okay, we need to keep this really basic. So if someone doesn't know what cryptocurrency is, can you please explain that to them? Because like, I have cryptocurrency, but it took me freaking ages to work out actually what it is. So can you kind of explain it in like a bit of an easier way for someone to know?
Yeah, sure. I'll make it as simple as possible. I'm doing a webinar on Monday on cryptocurrency, which we'll talk about later. So if you do want more details after this, yeah, we'll talk about that later anyway. But the real basics is it's just a digital currency. It's borderless, so it's global. You can send it from UK to Uganda, Uganda to Chile, wherever you want to send it. It's unhackable. A lot of people think it can be hacked, but in the past what's happened is what's called wallets or exchanges have been hacked. The currency itself cannot be hacked, so that's a key feature. And it's decentralized, and that's maybe the most important feature. So with banks, central banks are actually owned by people, and it's an organisation. Central banks, the Federal Reserve, etc., etc. Whereas Bitcoin and some cryptocurrencies do have ownership, but most of them, including Bitcoin, don't. So the technology itself is just a database. It's coding. It's not actually owned by anyone. So people like that idea because I could go right down a rabbit hole, but I won't. The central banks have been very corrupt over the years, and it's at our detriment. So this is seen as an alternative to that, that's going to help third world countries get up to speed, and just generally help free humanity.
So that kind of gives people a bit about cryptocurrency, but I guess my question is, so I'm trying to think like how I thought at the beginning, and like before I'd invest in cryptocurrency. And something I think about often is like people, obviously cryptocurrency is, we know it's going to be massive, but to someone who is literally like got a savings account with say, some money in or whatever, and it's in a bank savings account, or people are just kind of saving in the conventional ways that we know, why is that not always the wisest move if they want to make money? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, great question. And that is probably one of the biggest lies we're taught about money and finances, which if you read people's books like Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, they'll break down why that isn't the way to go, and why investing is how to make your money work for you and how to gain wealth. But fiat currency, cash, just becomes less and less valuable over time. It's like $100 bill 100 years ago is now worth, I think it's about $4. Why? Because it keeps getting printed. So, for example, this year, as a reaction to the pandemic, the central banks have printed 20% of the US dollars in circulation were printed this year. So obviously that means all the other dollars that are already in circulation are worth less. So if that is their tactic to get us out of this economic mess, you can see how the value of the dollar is going to go down very quickly, and it's already starting to. Obviously, the more dollars in supply, the less valuable each one of those dollars is. So Bitcoin is seen as a massive hedge against that, and it's one of the big reasons we've seen the price of Bitcoin go up so much this year, particularly the last couple of months, and it will more than likely continue next year and probably all the way until 2025.
So is it because money, they can just print more, and Bitcoin is finite resource?
Exactly. So it's written in the code of Bitcoin, which can't be changed, that there'll only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. So far there's been 17 or 18 million, I think it is, that's been mined. So that's already in circulation. There's only 3 million more to come into existence. And that's why, one Bitcoin's worth today, it's about $26,000, because it's so finite. Like I say, that supply is coming down and down, whereas money, the supply is going up and up because they keep printing it. So of course the value of the dollar, or the pound if you're in the UK, it's the exact same thing. We're lending loads of money this year from the banks as well, which, by the way, they'll want back through our taxes, which is why banks are happy to lend money to governments, because they know they can get that money back through taxes. It's not a great system really. So yeah, I'd recommend everyone getting at least some exposure to Bitcoin or gold or any hedges against inflation, because it seems that is the way they're going to deal with the economic collapse.
Kind of, because it reminds me of like last time Uranus is in Taurus. Uranus is in Taurus now, and this is why money is literally it's gonna like turn on its head. It will be, and it's all to do with the things that make us feel safe. That's what Taurus is. And Uranus is literally like revolution, change. It's like we're gonna see a massive change in how money is done. That is literally undoubtable. But can you talk more to, so like in the Bitcoin astrology chart, you can see that it's got like a stellium in Capricorn, which gives it like longevity. It's managed to survive Saturn in Capricorn, which was when you saw that big price drop when Saturn moved in, and that's kind of in the past. And since that, it's been like there's been a lot of other stuff happening. But also it has that Saturn-Uranus opposition. And these are really like, although it's strong and, it's gonna, I think it's definitely got longevity. You can see that. That would be like, if we were to look at its chart and say Bitcoin was a person, it would be like a freaking warrior ox. It would not be easy to destroy. But there's this Saturn-Uranus opposition, which is volatility. And that's the big word that people kind of think about when they think about Bitcoin. Like they might think volatility equals unreliable. And if people are wanting to invest their money, that can be quite scary for them, I guess. So I guess I'm asking you to debunk that myth, even though it is volatile, like that's in its DNA and its chart. But that's just my question to you. What would your answer be to that volatility? Is that where you have to kind of, you come in, with the knowing when to make what moves and stuff? That's where you have to be smart, isn't it? Because it's not a get-rich-quick scheme, is it? Like, got to put that out there.
No, it shouldn't be seen as a get-rich-quick scheme. You can get rich quick, but I wouldn't jump into it thinking that's what's going to happen, that's what you're doing it for. I'd look more long-term and just think sensibly about it. What was your original question?
It was talking about like volatility.
Volatility. Yeah. So
do?
to me personally, the volatility is a great thing. Like, it's an exciting thing about Bitcoin, because I don't know. Say for example, Amazon. Everyone knows they've had an incredible year because everything's been locked down, yet they're able to trade. Their stock's only gone up like double 100% this year, and that's an amazing year for a huge company. Bitcoin's done, I think it's about 200% this year, so double that. It averages 200% increase in investment every year. So obviously, like Cassie said, it's very volatile. There's big ups and downs. But if you can learn the cycles, which I talk about on my webinar as well, I teach you about the cycles and when to get in and when to get out, then you're protected against that and you can make a lot of money. So, for example, in 2000, the last bull run basically means when the price shoots upwards, was the end of 2017. So at the start of that bull run, say the end of 2016, the price was just under $1,000 per Bitcoin. That went all the way up to about 20,000 per Bitcoin a year later at the end of 2017, and then that crashed all the way back down as people cashed in the profits and whatnot to $3,000. So that bull run alone gives you a big indication of just how volatile it is. So yeah, that's why I teach people, when to buy, when to sell, how to take profits as you go to protect yourself from those big kind of crashes. And yeah, I'm very confident that this bull market's going to go well for me and the community that I head up at the moment.
Yeah, so when you say bull market, it's I'm resting the microphone on my pregnant bump. It's very comfortable. I might have to see what other things I can rest on it. And me and Alex, I've been interested in the astrology of Bitcoin for a while, but we watched a podcast that was showing you it would be very difficult, I think, if you weren't into astrology or Bitcoin to have sat through that podcast. So I wouldn't really recommend it for maybe beginners.
I struggle with the astrology.
Yeah, the astrology was really hardcore. I was loving it, but it really helped. In fact, before he even said that, I said 2021 will be the year for a big year for Bitcoin, because on the graph you can see, if you're not an astrologer, what you're saying is there's a bull run, and on average it goes up 200% a year, and on this graph you can see there's always a steady incline, overall trend is up and up and up and up. And the astrology this year, I'm looking at it and I was like, May is going to be huge. I think May and June, because there's going to be some big, obviously Jupiter will touch Bitcoin's Venus in Pisces. That is massive, although you never know. Sometimes you make predictions and they're not right, but I really think that will be a big time. That's only good. And then there's some big Uranus moves, and that makes me think that 2021 will be a massive year for Bitcoin, but that's when it will maybe peak around there or keep going up, certainly from that point, because we've seen the all-time Bitcoin high with the eclipses, because Bitcoin loves eclipses, and Saturn will be out of Capricorn, which is great for Bitcoin. So I can't see a reason why astrologically up until June it's not. It might be a bit dicey with the Saturn-Uranus square. It might be a bit volatile, but I definitely think May and June are going to be huge astrologically. So I don't know how that maps with sort of what your financial side is kind of mapping. What do you know what I mean? So basically I'm saying you would want to get it now, because I can only see it's going to go up and up and up till then.
Yeah, so I follow a few YouTubers, as well as obviously I do my own studies through Conscious Crypto Circle, and I'm in an academy, Ivan on Tech Crypto Academy. But the guy I respect most, who has pretty much nailed every prediction this year, he predicts about March, April time, looking about $50,000. By the way, at the moment, today as we speak, I think I already said, didn't I? About $26,000.
Well, how much was it when I bought it? Because I bought it.
Well, Cass bought it back in about August. It was only about $12,000. So she's more than doubled her money since then. She's looking very chuffed with herself now. So yeah.
And
that was in Bitcoin. She's got some Ethereum, which she's done well with. That's the number 2 cryptocurrency. I won't go too much into all that at the moment. So you have Bitcoin at the moment about $26,000. We're predicting March, April time $50,000. In summer, June, July, about 100,000. So yeah, I suppose that does line up with the astrology, because if May into June was really strong, then June, July time maybe we would see $100,000. I know they sound high predictions, but a lot of very smart people are predicting this, and they're saying from there it'll probably be a very sharp burst upwards and then a very sharp burst downwards. Mm-hmm. So you're looking, August, September time, maybe we even hit $200,000, which would be like a 10x from here, which again sounds far out, but I would not be surprised at all looking at the history of Bitcoin and what it's done in the past, and the amount of massive institutional investment coming in, PayPal offering it as part of their services now, and all this really amazing news in the space that's surging it forward. I won't be surprised. And then I think we'll enter the bear market from there.
What's the bear market?
Cass said, what's the bear market? Bear market is kind of the opposite of a bull market. It's when the price is kind of going down and down. Yeah.
You know what's really interesting? Bull market. Bull is the symbol of Taurus, and Taurus represents money and wealth.
Okay. I never thought about that. What about bears? Is that got anything to do with astrology? I suppose it has, doesn't it?
It probably has somewhere. Don't know. Probably. You're testing my knowledge now. I always think of bear. I like bears. Well, I think it means bear, like bald market.
Well, I think bears are quite slow, aren't they? That's what it means.
How does it? Well, I
don't know.
B-A-R-E or B-E-A-R?
Bull's obvious because it's like fast and whoosh, like shooting upwards. Yeah.
Aggressive bull market. Well, I had some good questions. So I guess my worry was, because there's been times, and you can again see this in the astrology chart, where confidence really drops, and like people have, there's a lot of like lack of faith in Bitcoin. Why? Even though like I know what you're saying is right, and I don't need any convincing, I do think it's a big mind shift for people that can't get out the traditional way money has been. And I guess, why should someone have faith in it? Oh, you've probably already answered this, but like, for me, someone might be scared of investing in something they don't really know much about. So what would you say to that?
I think it's like it with anything. When people first hear about it, there's immediately walls, which there should be barriers. You want to know more about it before you feel confident in it. So that's why I think listening to things like this, doing a webinar, doing your own research on YouTube is important. The more you can learn about it, the better. In terms of putting your own money in and being worried about that, obviously any investment there is a risk element, and Bitcoin is definitely no different to any other investment. There's risks involved, so that's why we do kind of risk management. So I always tell people, pick a percentage of your money that you're willing to lose. Maybe you just want to put 1%, say, of your total worth aside. Say, I'm going to put this into Bitcoin because the risk to reward ratio is too good to turn down. I could 10x my money in a year, or I only lose 1% of my money if I put that in. So that to me makes sense. Personally, I've got a lot more than 1% because I'm involved heavily in the space, and I'm really, really confident in it. And so that's what I'd recommend. Answer that one.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, I think if people are like, they kind of feel themselves getting a bit excited or intrigued, now I would say they need to just come to your webinar thing. It's on like Monday, but they can always watch it as well. Is it going to be recorded so they could still watch it back?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll talk about the end because that's important, but I have a few more questions. So, I just wanted to throw this out there that, like, people have this. I think a lot of people kind of think it's like not very spiritual to like make money, and it's like more humble to not go after money. Not that I agree with that, because I'm like, having money is great because you can help a lot of people, but a lot of people kind of can't believe that they would have money and things like that. So what would you say to people that feel like, well, like money isn't for me, or I don't see how I would get money or make money on this?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I've had them similar blocks, you know, the root of all evil is money, or whatever the saying is. I used to believe that and think that rich people are the biggest problem in the world and all that stuff, which really is rubbish. And kind of had to, reprogram myself. And I think you've got to have a level of self-esteem as well to feel like you deserve financial wealth, which from doing the work on myself, I've got to a point where I do, and I know that I want to do good with the money. I want to look after my family, live a more free lifestyle where I can spend time doing the things I love and helping people through meditation and whatnot as well. So yeah, for me, the more the better. I'd rather have it in my pocket. Another reason I want to make financial wealth, me and Cass have a dream to open our own orphanage, maybe somewhere like Nepal, things like that. So you can create beautiful things with finances. It's not to say you need that. You can be happy with absolutely nothing. I remember when I was backpacking around Australia, barely had a penny in my pocket. It's one of the happiest I've ever been. But for this stage of my life, when I want to actually bring beauty into the world, into communities, then it's a good time for me personally, and probably a lot of you listening would like to have more freedom yourself.
Well, yeah, and I always say, if Kim Kardashian can get it for just getting her ass out or whatever, like, why can't I have it? And I'll be nice.
It's true. There's a lot of, no offence, really stupid people making a load of money. So smart people like you guys listen to podcasts. There's no reason why you can't as well. I had my barriers when I first got into crypto, but for example, the last 2 months, I've made more money than I did in my last 2 years in employment. And you're not too late. There's still the vast majority of the population not invested. It's less than 1% of the world population. So, and in the future that could be 50% of the world, 100%. Imagine the value of some of these coins then. It's just going to be crazy. So, still a very exciting and early stage to get involved.
Yeah, well, I mean, I genuinely think we will have made the move to cryptocurrency. Like, I think cash will be literally void. That's just astrologically. I think by 2021, that Taurus eclipse that's going to be close to Uranus, I genuinely think that is when we will have moved to digital, if not crypto. Although my thoughts with the Saturn-Uranus square is I feel like there will be some attempts to make some sort of centralised cryptocurrency that's like global, that is controlled. And I know that you've said no, I don't think this, but I do genuinely. On air, what are your thoughts on that?
No, I do agree with that. China's already trying to make the digital yuan, which I don't fully get, just because most of our money is digital anyway. It's just the fact that they can print it or produce more numbers out of thin air. So it's just, like I say, the value of it's becoming less and less. That's why I don't like to hold too much cash at all. But yeah, what was the question?
It was, do you think they will come up with a centralised...
Yeah. So yeah, do I think they will come up with a centralised crypto? Yeah, they already have XRP, which is the third biggest crypto. It's a good time to ask this question, actually. So XRP is a controversial one in the crypto scene because it's like
What's XRP for people who have no idea?
XRP. It's a coin, another coin. So like Bitcoin's a coin, Ethereum's got a coin, XRP's got a coin. So this was kind of seen as the bridge between banks and governments and crypto. So because a lot of the people involved in the cryptocurrency space are kind of very anti-establishment, there's a lot of people that didn't like XRP, but they've got a huge fan base of their own because, you know, they see that as being the way forward, working with banks and governments to get crypto mainstream. But what's interesting, they're in big trouble at the moment with the SEC for, I think it's something to do with manipulating the price of the coins and whatnot. Coinbase, the biggest exchange in cryptocurrency, has suspended them for a while. The price is absolutely dropping and filtering out into the other coins. So yeah, it's interesting that the one that was meant to be the bridge at the moment is the one in the biggest trouble this year.
So basically, people may as well get into cryptocurrency now before everyone else does, because it's inevitable that that's the way it's going to move. That's what I think, based on the astrology.
Yeah, look, I have to say this, by the way. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. So take this what you will, do your own research. I'm just telling you what I think, how it's going to go. Yeah, I'll just reiterate what I said. I'm very confident in it personally. Does it mean that it's definitely going to bomb up and take over the world and all this? Not at all. I could be completely wrong. But personally, from my own research, knowledge and intuition, I can only see it going up in the short term and probably over the next 5-10 years, maybe even longer as well.
Yeah, I think now is the time to just make sure people are, with so much instability in cash, this Uranus and Taurus and all these Saturn squares going to be a bit bumpy and volatile. I think it's a great time for people to not only get crypto, but like to have gold, like to invest in alternative sources of wealth.
100%. There's a funny story with the cash thing. They did so much printing. I think it was Zimbabwe. It was an African country. It's quite a famous story within the financial world. People were having to take a wheelbarrow of cash down to the local shop to get a loaf of bread. That's how much they devalued the currency. So it was worth like $1 million, whatever their currency was, for a loaf of bread. So yeah, I'm not saying that's going to happen in the more developed countries, but we are going to see big inflation over time, hyperinflation.
But astrologically, it's more or less a match to when there was the massive depression right now. So we're in the same energy. Do you know what I mean? It's never the same, but I mean, looking back at this in history, it's never been a great time.
Yeah, I think 2021, unfortunately, is going to be the big year when the economy just crash hard. I think 2020 we haven't really seen that, or to what extent it's going to be like, or the stimulus or whatever's tried to cover it up. But I think the chickens are going to come home to roost. So it's important that people, educate themselves financially in terms of investing. Like I say, the most famous book, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, really recommend watching that. Basically, he's a multi-millionaire that wanted to help the everyday guys like you and me make big wealth and learn the secrets of the rich. So yeah, really recommend that book. And yeah, gold is also seen as a good hedge against inflation, and silver. Robert Kiyosaki calls gold actually God's money. So when man's money, paper money, becomes less and less valuable, he says he moves into God's money. So in the financial crash of 2008, gold soared in price because it was a similar situation. There was lots of money printing, and people were moving the cash into gold. to hedge against the devaluation of the dollar and the pound and whatnot.
So basically, you heard it here first. Either get your wheelbarrow ready to go down Morrison's to buy your baguettes, or get yourself on cryptocurrency. No, it's not meant to be scaremongering. It's just, I think it's important. Like astrologically, I could see it was all going to be extremely unstable. But I feel like because you have like almost no astrological knowledge, and yet what we're both saying correlates. I think it could just be a correlation, but I just think you want to be prepared, and that's what we want to give to people, is so that they can't blame the government for effing them over. Like, it's about them being prepared by getting ahead, and this is what astrology does. This is what just seeking alternative information sources does, because once you're aware of how the whole money system works, you'll realise there's nothing to be afraid of. You can really take it into your own hands, and I think it's important people know that, because this is how poor people stay poor and rich people stay rich. Do you know what I mean? I think, though, I don't know what you think about this, but to anyone, regardless, I think the biggest piece is mindset in the whole big scheme of it, is to have a positive mindset and address your beliefs that you cannot have abundance, because a lot of people do have blocks to it. So that's my spiel. Okay, so I'm trying to think if there's anything I wanted to ask you specifically. Well, there's obviously loads we could talk about, but okay, well, do you want to tell people about your webinar? Because I think from this point, if people are interested, then they'll know, your webinar is not extortionately, I think it's a very low investment for the information you get. But that really goes into the nitty gritty, doesn't it, of like how and why it kind of works. And do you want to tell people more about why that would be a great first place for them to go? And a little bit about your Patreon community as well.
Yeah, sure, I'd love to. So yeah, the webinar is 2 hours long. It's only £11.11, which anyone who's into numerology, 1111 means new beginnings, so I thought that worked quite nicely. So hopefully it will be setting people up on a positive new path. We'll cover everything, go into details about how it actually works, the kind of mining process, how the blockchain works, talk a little bit about the history of money itself, talk about what actually makes Bitcoin valuable, go into detail on that, talk about the different altcoins. So the first half, it's all about learning the history and the technology and whatnot. Do a little Q&A, and the second part is the exciting bit, which everyone really wants to know, the investing side, the kind of history of Bitcoin as an investment, comparing it to other kind of assets, looking at the cycles that we're talking about and the halvings that happen every 4 years. And then I teach you where to buy it, where to sell it, all that kind of stuff, which I think most people have a block with that as well. I think it's really difficult, and it was years ago, but now it's very easy to buy cryptocurrency, so I'll show you how to do that. And then again, we have another Q&A at the end, so anything you want to ask me, go ahead. You can ask me in the text box if you don't want to come on the camera. And like Cassie said, we're going to record the whole thing, so if you can't make it live, or you'd rather just watch it in your own time, I'll send out the recording to everyone as well. And then like Cassie said, off the back of that, I do have my community on Patreon called the Enlighten Crypto Community. It's my kind of meditation page is called, and podcast is called Enlighten with Alex. So the spin-off to that is Enlighten Crypto Community, and in there I give people reports, regular updates on what's happening in the markets. If people have any problems or issues on exchanges, or they're not sure what to do, help them out. And if you get the top package, I do like a meditation every month as well, and a live Zoom call. We kind of chat through everything. So I only set it up last month. We've got just a handful of people in there at the moment, but I'm really excited about it, and hopefully going to build it up over the years and have a full-on website for the group and invite amazing guests on from spirituality, crypto experts, astrology experts, etc. And yeah.
I think I should get really good at crypto astrology, and then we can do like a monthly thing.
Yeah.
Monthly forecast. Yeah. I can read the astrology, but I don't know nothing about finance, so that's probably why I shouldn't do it. Well, I know not that much.
You're learning.
Yeah, I'm learning. So, okay, well, so how can people, well, I was going to ask how can people find you, but okay, here's a fun question. Let's have some fun questions to finish. How are you finding me now I'm 21 weeks pregnant?
Good questions. Yeah, first few weeks was difficult. You had a lot of morning sickness, and you were very emotional. We seem to be more stable now, and yeah, it's really exciting. The bumps coming on, bigger and bigger every day. So yeah, we're already halfway. Can't believe it. Love Bonnie to bits. Give her a nice song every night. It's great.
Who's Bonnie?
She said, "Who's Bonnie?" I really like the name Bonnie, so that's what I've been calling her. But who knows? We'll see when we see a little face.
I'm only winding you up. What about so if she's a Taurus, she'll have a Taurus sun, and that will reflect you in the chart. And that makes sense because Alex has Taurus moon in the 8th house, which is investing. So it's actually like something you would have done in a past life. I always said you maybe in a past life you're like Wolf of Wall Street. But anyway, if she has Taurus sun, that's reflecting you. So she probably will be Taurus sun because that reflects wealth, her father. Yeah, just thought that was an interesting fact.
It is.
Okay, well, so how can people find... You don't sound that excited about the baby. I'm only joking. He has to put up with me and my emotional mood swings. So, how can people find you and contact you about your webinar? I will put it in the show notes, but in case people want to just contact you directly on Instagram, etc., where can they find you?
Well, yeah, I've been pretty much shadow banned on Facebook and Instagram. Feel free to follow me, but it probably won't pop up on your feed. So I've been talking out a lot about a lot of the corruption going on, which the social media overlords don't seem to like. But yeah, Enlighten with Alex on Facebook and Instagram. I'm also on YouTube. I do podcasts as well. Really loving that at the moment. And you just got into that too. So yeah, follow me on there, and we'll drop a link down below for the webinar. Like I say, if you've enjoyed today, really recommend that. I'd love to see you on there if you fancy it.
Well, hopefully everyone will join in, because we actually share. You have a girl, a lady who's on my astrology school.
Dara.
Yeah. Well, don't say her name out loud.
Oh. She's a ledge. Dara, if you're listening.
She won't be able to hear you with the microphone. No! It's unprofessional, because people might know her, and then they might, I don't know. There's probably some kind of law that means you can't do that.
Oh, okay, cool.
She might wish to remain anonymous.
Fair
enough. You know, gotta be careful. And we are not financial advisors either. That's our second disclaimer. Yeah, well, hopefully they will join you, and then I'll see them in the crypto community. What were you going to ask?
Yeah, tell them that you're in it as well.
I'm in the crypto community. I don't post very much. I posted once about something astrological and no one seemed to appreciate it, so I just lay low. So, but you know, if I've invested in it and I used to have massive abundance issues, then trust me, like, you'll be fine as well if you are listening. So make sure you follow Alex. You check out that webinar. It's a small investment for a potentially massive gain. Like I said over and over again in my astrology webinar of 2021, this is the year, because whether you like it or not, it's going to happen. So you may as well get ahead and actually make some money from it. Alex is reaching for the microphone, so I'll give it to him.
Yeah, I just want to put it into context, because the people in my group are loving it so far. When I did the last webinar, November the 30th, right then in November, the people that invested in Bitcoin straight after that webinar, which was the majority of them, I think, they're all up about 55-60% already in a month. So to put that into context, you know, if you put just $1,000 in a month ago, you have already made $550-600. So it just shows you how quick it's moving and how exciting it is. And yeah, just wanted to drop that in.
Yes, well, not that we're advising people do it as a get rich quick, even if they can. No, I'm just winding you up. So thanks for coming on this Christmas afternoon, this snowy Christmas afternoon.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, Cass has been like a little kid again, seeing all the snow. She loves it, which is nice. And yeah, we'll get on with our jolly day. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. Peace out, and big love to you all.
Thank you so much, and see you again soon.